Hi, I'm Rich Kutchman with Strategic Self-Reliance and Defense, and in today's video we're going to continue talking about the secondary assessment. So the first component of the secondary assessment is the chief complaint and the sample history. So let's talk about the chief complaint first. That is what's wrong. That's the primary reason that you're engaging with this patient, this victim, right? So when you're asking somebody what is wrong, what happened, what hurts the most, what's the problem, the answer they give you, that's the chief complaint. So it could be I fell down and I twisted my ankle hurts. Chief complaint, ankle pain, right? Or I can't catch my breath, I'm short of breath. My chest feels tight. Chief complaint, dyspnea, shortness of breath, right? All right, so chief complaint. What's the problem? What hurts? What's wrong? What happened? The sample history is an acronym. Sample is an acronym. So this is kind of like a quick down and dirty medical history on the patient. Again, this is the secondary assessment. This is not addressing life-threatening injuries. You've already done that in the primary assessment. This is things have settled down. You're waiting for the ambulance to arrive, or um, you're taking a break before you decide you're going to walk out of the trail. Whatever's going on in this scenario. Um, Sample history, acronym S, symptoms. I'm going to cover each of these here in just a second. A, allergies. M, medications. P, past or pertinent medical history. L, last intake or output. And then E, events leading up to the situation. So let's cover those briefly individually. All right. S, symptoms. What are the symptoms? What's wrong? What do you feel? What's going on? Right. This is where the patient says, "I have a headache," or "I have blurred vision." Um, uh, I'm dizzy. Uh, I'm nauseous. I have diarrhea. I can't catch my breath. I have chest pain. Right. Whatever the symptoms are, those are that's S, symptoms. All right. A, allergies. So allergies are not just medication allergies, which is usually what we think of. We think of medication allergies. I'm allergic to uh, Tylenol, or I'm allergic to doxycycline or something. Now that's important. You want to know that um, and note it. But it's also things like foods, food allergies, bee stings, um, those kinds of things, especially if you're talking about in an environmental scenario. You're out in the woods, you're out on the trail, you're taking care of a patient, some victim, um, you don't know what's happened, they're having shortness of breath, and you find out they're allergic to bee stings. Maybe they got stung by a bee, right? These are things you want to know. Or maybe somebody had peanuts in their trail mix and the patient's allergic to peanuts. Those are important things. So allergies. Um, so it's not only what are they allergic to, but what happens. That might be the more important piece. What happens when you contact that allergen? Um, if they say, my eyes just get a little itchy and I get a little rash, right? That might not be that bad. But if they say my tongue swells up and I can't breathe, I have to get epinephrine, I had to be in the hospital for 3 days, you might be a little bit more concerned. Now, know that allergies can evolve over time. Over exposures, they can get worse. Yeah, medications. So, what prescriptions are they on? And what medications has a doctor prescribed, and what are they taken for? And then don't forget about over-the-counter medications. Okay, what are they taking that don't? What medications are they taking that don't require prescription? Because some of those have some pretty potent side effects, and especially when they interact with each other or with prescribed medications. All right. So not only what medications are they taking, when did they last take it? That's also important. All right. Um, Past or pertinent. I like pertinent medical history because some people might have a very extensive medical history, and you might not need to know all of it. But what is their medical history? So, and the easiest way to ask this is, what do you see a doctor for? What does a doctor follow you for? What are your medical problems that you see a doctor for those problems? That kind of makes it short and sweet, right? Maybe it's asthma, heart failure, diabetes, um, psoriasis, whatever the case may be. Okay. All right, last intake and output. So normally we mostly think about the intake. When was the last time the person had something to eat or drink? We think of this mostly because what's in their stomach. They get to the hospital, they might have to have surgery, or they might have to go under anesthesia. Anesthesia is very worried about somebody aspirating or throwing up and aspirating those contents. But so you're just noting this stuff down, and we're going to get to one of my last videos in this series is going to be documentation. All right. So when was the last time they ate something or drank something? And then the output of it, the output side is when was the last time they emptied their bladder, emptied their bowels? And I guess you could go on and ask, well, was that normal? Was your bowel movement normal? Was it diarrhea? Um, those would be, I guess, important questions, depending on what the chief complaint is. All right, so, and lastly is E, events leading up to this situation, okay? So what were you doing when these symptoms came on, right? I was riding a bike, I fell, I went off the trail, dumped the bike, tumbled, and when I got up, my ankle was swollen and it hurt. Okay, those are the events leading up to it. Another piece of this is you can ask somebody, is this something you normally do? You know, I just started jogging, I just started working out again. I've been overweight for the last couple of years, and decided to lose weight, and I started jogging again. And after, you know, 10 minutes into my jog, I started to have chest pain. Well, you maybe have not conditioned up to it. It might just give you another indicator of what's going on. All right. All right. So that, in a nutshell, is chief complaint and the sample history, which is the first part of the secondary assessment. Okay. Next videos, we're going to cover physical exam. We'll cover vital signs, and we'll cover a little bit about documentation, how you would document this. All right. Okay. Until next time, my name is Rich Kuchman for Strategic Self-Reliance and Defense. Hope to see you in class.